welcome to our first baseball show of the year. The spring began for the Big Red last week down at Baylor, taking on the Baylor Bears, a perennial NCAA tournament team. Nebraska went 1-2. If you want to be a part of the program, here are the numbers: 866-HUSKER-1, 866-487-5371. Nick and I were saying on the broadcast, Coach, that if we'd have told you going down there, you're going to get one, you'd probably go, okay, we'll probably take that. But then you get the one Friday night, and then you want to go, now we got to go win the series. So maybe a mixed bag how you feel coming back from there.
Yeah, and when you lose on Sunday, the trip never feels great, leaving. But there were a lot of positive signs this weekend, and of course, you get off to such a great start, and you win that game going away where you're not really using a whole lot of your high leverage pitchers on Friday night. So you got your entire bullpen ready to go pretty much on Saturday, and the comeback was awesome. The grand slam was a big moment, and then Roseberry hitting the home run late to give us the lead. And there was just a lot of really positive things I saw from the weekend. And you got your closer on the mound with a one-run lead. In game 2 to go win a series. I'd put Shea Shanneman in that spot 10 times, and he's going to get it done 9. And so that's just the way it went this weekend. And you'll take one, but you definitely would have liked to have 2 at least.
How did you feel like you swung the bats through the weekend?
Really well. I thought 1 through 9 in our order was very competitive. I thought we had really good at-bats. We ended up having, I believe it was 22 walks and hit by pitch compared to 20 punch-outs. So really good approach. I felt like just even a lot of the outs were really hard outs. So, the double play ball kind of bit us on Sunday. That really is what kept us off the scoreboard, from scoring some more, because we were able to cash in on a lot of those spots on Friday and Saturday. And then I think it was 3 straight innings that we had double play balls that just some unfortunate plays there for us. But we had traffic, we had base runners, we had our opportunities on Sunday. Baylor, outside of that first inning, they played flawless baseball, and we kind of knew that going into it, that they would be a very good defensive team. And they played really, really well to beat us next 2.
Mentioned those double plays. You even had veteran guys up that have been through those situations before. I think Roscom hit into one. He hit it hard. Acker hit one right to the third base bag, which made it pretty easy. And I can't remember who made the third one, but it was guys that you're like, well, I'm glad that's the guy up for us.
Yeah, and Roscom's there. He's hitting the 4-hole. The guys in front of him kind of got the line moving already, and he gets to a 2-0 count and, just hits it hard at the first baseman on the ground. And, it's just – sometimes you get the bloopers to fall, and sometimes the hard hit balls go right at them. So we had the right situation, for those guys to be in, and they were ready to hit, and they got themselves some good pitches to hit. Maybe just try to do a little bit too much with them.
The weekend got off to such a great start because you scored 8 runs before there was an out. Talk about the approach you saw from your guys. It looked like it was, let's go gap to gap early in the game. Let's just get ourselves on base.
Yeah, it was. We kind of figured that their starting pitcher, Winston, would be around the zone, and we felt like if we could cover the outside part of the plate on him and use the middle of the field, that there would be a lot of hits there. And it started with Jackson just getting a 2-strike hit up the middle. Really set the tone for the team, and then after that it was contagious. It was just balls hit hard all over the field, and had some luck, involved too in there, but which you got to have in an inning like that at times. But it was pretty special deal. I haven't seen really many games start like that, and being kind of the first game, little jitters going a little bit, and so that helped take the edge off.
Made it easy for Gareth Stroh to go out there with a 11-0 lead. And in some ways that can be hard, though, too.
Well, it was easy in the fact that he had a big lead. We made him sit and wait for 45 minutes before he could go throw his first pitch. So he actually had to go warm up 2 different times during that inning. So it was a little bit of a weird situation for him that way, just how long the innings were lasting. And there was an injury on the Baylor staff where a pitcher came in and got hurt before he even threw his first pitch. So there was another 10 or 12-minute delay. So there were a lot of weird circumstances, but that's the 5th-year senior. He just took it in stride.
Probably won't be that way maybe the rest of the year for his starts.
That's right.
You'd like for it to be.
We'll take it every time, no doubt.
All right, Coach is here with us for the next hour, 866-HUSKER-1, 866-487-5371. Let's go to the phones. Bob and Lincoln, you're going to lead us off. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. Hey, Coach. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks that, during fan day, came down, got to talk to you, and for my surprise, you remember me from the Buck and were able to reminisce about back in the old days with the Buck there. And just want to say thanks. Over the weekend, Game 2, the closers do they have just a different? They got a different mentality, don't they, about come in 8th, 9th inning and shut things down? And are we going to have hope to have a great closer this year where we can come in and shut things down so that because I really thought we were going to win Game 2, and were the players kind of over anxious, especially with looked like we had the rookie or the freshman for Baylor on the ropes. What was it, about the 7th inning or so, where we had 2 on and guys in the corners, and they just had a timeout where the coach came and talked to him, and then the next pitch. Was it a little too anxious up there trying to do too much on that?
That might have been Acker's at bat.
Yeah. When he hit right into that double play to take us out, and that was basically the last time we really had noise, in Game 3. But want to know your opinion on that, and also I will be there for opening game, June 6th, 1:35, and if it snows. Hey, I'll be willing to come down and clean the field off so we can still go.
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see you guys at home.
Whatever it takes. Yeah, we'll see you there.
Was Joe over anxious out there?
So the at bat you're referring to, the bases were loaded, I believe, in that situation. He got a good pitch to hit. I mean, in that spot, you want to be ready to hit. You want to swing at a good pitch, obviously, and I think he did get a good pitch to hit. I do think it was one of those situations where he tried to probably do a little bit too much there. Joe had a really good weekend. A lot of those really good swings he took were back through the middle of the field, and I mean, he drove the center fielder back on several of his swings, and him and I actually had that conversation today at practice. I kind of walked through that with him. I said, okay, tell me what you do differently there, and he said, he goes, I got a good pitch to hit, I just try to do too much with it. And so that happens sometimes when guys want it, they want to help the team so bad that maybe they put a little bit too much on their shoulders. So that's a little bit of probably what happened there, maybe even a little bit on Roscom's double play ball as well. I mean, he hit it hard, but his fastball out over the plate, he'd been so good of staying in the middle of the field for most of the weekend, and probably got a little over anxious trying to do too much there. So that happens, and you just kind of learn from those situations and have those conversations with the guys, and know that, hey, remember when we were scoring all those runs in the first 2 games with the great approach, like, don't try to do more. So that's it was a good question, and it was definitely a big plays by them.
Gunnar hit into one on Saturday where he hit it hard up the middle, but they were shaded that way, so he hit right into the double play.
Yep.
Shanneman, Bob brought up Shanneman. What about the mentality of Shea? What have you seen in your short time kind of around that young man?
Yeah, Shea is he's very competitive. He's very confident. He pitched in a lot of big situations as a freshman, had a really good year as a freshman. Just never seemed fazed by the moment, and he wasn't fazed by the moment. He got up 0-2. He was, firing right out of the chute. He landed a breaker for a strike, a fastball for a strike, and he tried to be a little too fine. He tried to make the perfect pitch, kind of a little bit of what we talked about on the offensive side with some of those double plays, maybe trying to do too much. And I had the same conversation with Shea today. It was like, hey man, like, you're going to get the ball, like, you're the guy. He's like, yeah, I tried to get too fine there with that leadoff hitter after I got up 0-2, try to make the perfect pitch instead of just, here's my best stuff, go ahead and hit it if you can. So, again, another situation, that he's going to learn from and he's going to grow from.
And credit to Bader Kid. He laid off a couple tough pitches in that when he got down 2 strikes.
He did. And, the kid that put the ball in play, to score the tying run, Shea made his pitch.
Yeah.
It was a punch-out pitch. It was a pitch that he's gotten a lot of swing and miss on. And, their guy just did a really good job of poking them, putting it in play.
I appreciate the call. Let's go to Plattsmouth next. And Drew, hello, Drew. You're up with the head coach.
Hey, Coach, a couple quick questions. I know you put a really strong emphasis on in-state recruiting. There's a guy by the name of, I believe, Drew Smith. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's out of Northeast Community College. He went to Grand Canyon. He had 11 RBIs over the weekend in the Open Series with Oklahoma State. Just didn't know if he was a kid you're familiar with last year and if we had all looked at him or if it was just a case of you kind of coming in too late trying to piece together the class. And my second question is regards to Colby Gomes. What's the adjustment he's going through and balancing, last year as a closer, he'd just come in and let it rip for an inning. Just didn't seem like he had that electric stuff this weekend on Saturday. He got hit pretty hard. So what type of adjustments does he need to make from going to closer to starter and managing that? So I'll just hang up and listen. Thanks, and appreciate the hard work you do.
Yeah, you bet. On Colby, so really he really just kind of needs to have a very similar mindset that he had as a closer. We really don't need him to pace himself. What we saw from him in the fall, albeit it was 3 and 4 inning outings max, he was still holding his velocity pretty well. I mean, it wasn't 97, but it was low 90s and still sharp and good enough. And I feel like he just needs to go out and just pitch with his best conviction on his pitches, just like he did as a closer, and like we did see a lot in the fall from him, and early this spring, his last outing against live hitters, same type deal. So it's just something he's going to need to. It's just a mindset thing, really. We know he's got the stuff to do it. We also know that as any pitcher, really, that is maybe not pitching with their best conviction, with their pitches, tend to flatten out a little bit. You leave it over the middle of the plate, it's going to get hit hard. So those are some adjustments he's going to need to make, and just really the command of the pitches too. If the velocity is going to be a little bit down, just making sure you don't miss over the middle of the plate. So those are some things that he's going to continue to clean up. And to answer your first question about, I believe it was Drew Smith. I think he was already signed with Grand Canyon by the time we got here. So I think he may have even been an early sign in the fall. So I knew who he was, but just because I believe he's from Elkhorn or Elkhorn South maybe, but I didn't realize he had such a good weekend, and 11 RBIs. That's a heck of a weekend. Yeah.
And you've made no bones about it. This recruiting this area, this state, it's priority number one for you and this staff.
It is. It's of the utmost. And again, we're not going to get everybody. There's roster needs too, where we've got to figure out, hey, maybe we don't need this catcher, or maybe we're good on this this position. So there's other things that go into it as well. But we got to start here, and we have started here, and we're going to continue to start here when it comes to. We got to make sure that if we're targeting certain guys that we want on our team, that we do our best to get them to stay here and play for the Huskers.
All 3 starting pitchers this weekend are Nebraska kids.
That's right.
Yeah. 866 Husker 1, the coach is with us. Let's head down to the state of Texas, Austin and Joe. Hello, Joe. You're up with Coach Bolt.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Joe.
First of all, a friend of mine and myself were at the game Saturday.
Great.
And I guess the first question is were you or the team surprised that there were actually more Husker fans in attendance at the game than there were Baylor fans on Saturday?
No, I'm never surprised by Husker fans. I mean, we had Go Big Red chants going and Husker Power chants going, and I'm never surprised by the support that we get and all of our sports get. I mean, there's Husker fans everywhere, and they travel well, and I mean, it's why I love this place. It's such a special fan base, and really, really appreciate all the support.
Second quick question, if I may, is when you went up to the mound and talked to Colby Gomez the first time.
Uh-huh.
I was kidding with my friend. I said, if I was coach, I would say, okay, now take yourself out. I'm relieving you with yourself. Now go in and act like a reliever now.
That might have been Jeff Christie went out the first time, wasn't it?
Oh, Jeff went out the first time, I think, and I went out to take him out. So.
Well, Joe, appreciate you coming up to Waco. Glad you could make a game.
All right, thank you.
In fact, there's an alumni association pregame party in San Diego Saturday.
That's right. I'll be there. I'll come say hello.
They've sold like 200 tickets for that. So
that's awesome.
Pretty cool deal.
You.
Coach is with us for about another 40 minutes. 866-HUSKER-1. You can dial us up on our Sports Only hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. More with the coach coming up.
You're listening to
Baseball, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit them at buyfordnow.com. Welcome back to our Nebraska Baseball Show, our first of the year. The head coach, Will Bolt, in studio until the top of the hour. 866-HUSKER-1 if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Rockport, Missouri. Jerry, you're up with the head coach.
How you doing, Coach Bolt? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jerry. Thank you.
Hey, I really appreciate it. I'm really excited about you coming back and running the program. We have 4 season tickets and have had for quite a while there in the stadium, so we're looking forward to the home opener, and we've already got tickets to go down to Wichita to watch you guys play. So
Great.
We're excited about the season and the job you're going to do down the road for us.
Well, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yeah, I did have a question about Max Schreiber. I thought he did really well the other day. Did you feel the same way, that he had pretty good command of pitches and everything?
Yeah, I thought Max was one of the definite bright spots on the weekend. I mean, he's the reason we had a chance to win that game, quite honestly. I mean, he let us get back in the game by stabilizing the game, and he went, I believe it was in 5 innings, threw really well. Had some pitches that maybe got away from him from time to time that he'd like to have back, but the thing he was able to do is overcome that and make some big pitches. And, he's got the good sinking fastball. And really the difference maker for him this year has been the slider. It looks like a fastball. Comes out of the same tunnel as his sinker and just falls off the table. So he was really good. He was definitely a bright spot. He's a guy that we stretched out, knowing that we'd want to use him kind of in a role where we may ask him to go 80 pitches, which he did. And I think he actually ended up throwing more pitches than anybody this weekend. But he was very good. It was very encouraging to see that. And he's a guy that, I would love to keep him in the bullpen because I feel like he's a guy that's got an arm that bounces back, and he's one that we'd like to use multiple times a week.
What's the latest on Jackson Hallmark?
Okay, Jackson, he's got a little bit of a knee. He just kind of bent the wrong way when him and Aaron collided out there in right field, and really a freak injury. I mean, it was just kind of 2 guys playing extremely hard, going after a ball, and it wasn't anything that he really did he didn't plant wrong. He didn't, do it when he slid on it. It was just when the 2 of them collided, his knee kind of, bent the wrong way. So it's going to be fairly day-to-day with him. It's nothing that's going to set him back for an extended period of time, but it's pretty sore. It's pretty stiff. And we'll just kind of play it by ear to see, when his availability is going to come. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
And looking forward to watching you guys the rest of the year.
Okay. Thanks for the call.
Very appreciate the call. Your home opener is March 6th with Columbia, but you've been using Haymarket Field for the last couple of weeks, right? Hawks Field's been in decent shape.
Yeah, we got the new video board up too. It's we haven't turned it on. I don't know if it's functioning yet, but it's huge. It looks great. But yeah, we were out there practicing today and got some good work in.
That field and the guys who work on that do a great job, don't they?
Oh man, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we pulled the tarps back. It was pretty wet from all the snow melting, and they worked hard to get us out there, and we've been out there now 4 or 5 times here in the last week.
Big benefit. You've been around here enough to know that a lot of times in the spring you don't get any before you head somewhere.
Yep.
Because of the Hallmark injury, you had to kind of shuffle some seats around. Drew Gillen got into the game Friday night, got a big RBI hit for you, had a hit Sunday, did make the air third, but that's probably about as much as we've seen Drew Gillen play in his career here in Nebraska.
Yeah, Drew got us off to a good start offensively, got that big hit. I mean, I think it was first and third, 1 out, and, we didn't punch across the run with 1 out, and he's got 2 strikes on him, and he battled and put a great swing on it. I think he stayed over a changeup and hit it right back through the middle. And so he's kind of a guy it's got to be versatile for us defensively, play third, short, or second for us. And, Yeah, I mean we're a little shorthanded in the infield, and we were a little shorthanded coming into it. So we saw 3 different third basemen play basically over the course of the weekend, and something that it's next man up. I mean Jackson, if he's out for a few games, then we'll just have to mix and match with our matchups there.
Speaking of versatility, Luke Roscom showed that off. Caught 2 games and played third base for a game for you.
He did. Yeah, he made a couple nice plays over there, and
He's got a big arm.
Yeah, he's got a good arm, and he could play. It's funny, today we were at practice, and we kind of just had him fill in some spots so to save Spencer's arm a little bit on some drills, and he went over to second base, he went over to shortstop. Like for a big guy, he's got really good feet and really good hands, and he could play a lot of different positions for us.
Spencer is coming off. You mentioned his arm. You're having to be a little cautious with him, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean he's still coming off that modified Tommy John surgery, so it's what's keeping him off the mound basically at this point now too, because we did want to pitch him and he wants to pitch, and I think he's still not quite where he'd like to be from the arm health standpoint. I mean it's I shouldn't say arm health, probably the shape his arm is in to be able to go out and pitch and then still play shortstop for us every day. I mean you've got to have your arm in incredible shape to do that. So, but he played a heck of a shortstop this weekend.
Were you pleased with his at-bats?
Absolutely. I thought his nose was on the ball. I felt like he probably could have had easily 2 or 3 more hits in there. He hit the ball extremely hard. I thought his at-bats were great. He took his walks. I thought he played a great shortstop, and he was good.
Does he need to be a run producer for you?
He does. He needs to. I think he needs to be a guy that's going to drive in runs, and he has the skill set to do it because he can use the whole field. I mean, that's what you got to see in a run producer, is a guy that can handle the pitcher's best pitches, because that's what you're going to get with runners in scoring position. He can handle the right-on-right breaker. I mean, he can stay over the left-handed changeup. I mean, he can cover the plate, and he's a gifted hitter, and he's a guy that when his approach is to the middle of the field, just like most guys, I mean, he can be dangerous.
Let's head back to the phones down to Hayes, Kansas. Tom, you're up with the head coach.
Hey, how's it going, Sharpe?
Good.
Coach Bolt?
Hey, doing good, thanks.
Hey, welcome to the program. Just like to start off saying that I got ESPN Plus so I could watch you guys down in Waco. And I will tell you, it was a shock not seeing Coach Erstad come out of the dugout. Well, my biggest question for you, Coach, I talked to Greg about this last night, and I really like to hear what your comment is. As gifted as an athlete as Colby Gomez is, with the bat and then playing first base and stuff like that, with him being a starter and losing him at the plate and in the field for the whole series, I was wondering, how long, do you go with something like that? I mean, I know the guy's got electric stuff, and I know you guys know what you're doing, but, man, I'm like, when he came out of the bullpen, we had him there, and then we had him for, on the field and, hitting and, because the guy's got power. And I didn't know what you thought about that. And we can't wait to me and my son, we get to go to 2 series of the year, and we're going to go to the Rutgers one so we can go to the spring game and watch you guys there. And, of course, your Husker fans in Kansas will be there to root you on against the Wildcats when you guys are in Manhattan. So
Awesome.
Welcome to the program. You guys got a great team, it looks like, and I know you guys lost a series, but it looked pretty good to me. Thanks a lot, Coach, and I'll look forward to hearing your comments.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the call, and thanks for your support too. Yeah, with Colby, it was pretty cut and dry when I got here in the summer and he sat down with Coach Christie and I. It was like, okay, let's talk about your future. Let's talk about your season. Offensively, he was okay last year. It wasn't a top tier first base production. He's a fantastic defender at first base. I know that he's a big target. And he can really dig the balls out of the dirt. But he said, Coach, I just don't know if the hitting thing is kind of for me. He's like, I think I really would like to focus more of my energy and time into becoming a better pitcher. And that's where his future is, quite frankly. I mean, he's going to be a professional on the mound, not as a hitter. And not that we make decisions based on professional careers, because there's, we're going to try to put our team in the best position to win. But, we felt like we had a couple of guys that could fill in and play first base. I mean, Ty Roseberry had a fantastic weekend for us. I mean, both defensively and offensively. Over there at first base, and we've got a young guy in Luke Boynton that plays there too that we want to invest at bats in. So that plays into it a little bit too. But Colby, again, this is trying to get more innings for one of your more talented pitchers. And at the end of the day, he threw 22 innings last year on the season. So we're just trying to maximize his innings and. It wasn't a good first outing for him, but he's a competitor and he's going to get the ball again. And we'll hopefully he can get some things ironed out and get some of his confidence back.
Tom, appreciate the call. Dorothy Lynch, home-style dressing and condiments, the one-of-a-kind taste that goes with anything. Good for game day or any day. Dorothy Lynch, endless flavorabilities. More with the coach coming up. 866-HUSKER-1, 866-487-5371. Back with more of the Nebraska Baseball Show next.
You're listening to Sports.
Nebraska 811 says go dig red. Before you dig, always call or click 811 to have your utility lines marked. It's free, it's easy, and it's the law. It's our baseball hour here on Sports Island. 866-HUSKER-1, 866-487-5371. Nebraska will be headed to San Diego in a couple of days to take part in the Tony Gwynn Classic. Were you a Tony Gwynn fan growing up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how could you not be as a baseball fan? I mean, that guy could hit. I mean, he was one of those guys that just had a knack for finding the barrel and didn't punch out, and kind of just a guy that was just, an incredibly tough out at the plate. And he was, I don't think a lot of people realize, just based on the end of his career, kind of how his body looked, but he was such a good athlete too.
Played basketball, I think.
Yeah, played basketball, and a lot of people think that he could have played in the NBA possibly. So, he left quite the legacy.
And a heck of a guy, by all accounts. People really were drawn to Tony as a person, and just taken from us far, far too young. It's a pretty good field. You're going to see three really good teams this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a great tournament. USD has always had a strong program, and they got off to a good start this first weekend. And San Diego State has a lot of good players returning. And Arizona, I think they're ranked in some polls too. So there's three really quality teams that we're going to play, and I do feel confident though that based on what we saw this weekend, for the better part of the weekend, really 2 of the 3 days, we played at a pretty high level. So we're going to need to do that again to come away with some wins.
Arizona's been a team that's been to Omaha a few times in the last decade or so.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
You're freshmen. Let's talk about that group and their first time out. You had a couple of them as a designated hitter over the week. What did you think of those guys? Yeah,
I thought Leighton Banjoff had good at-bats. He had maybe 1 or 2 that he'd like to have back, but I thought he drew some walks, and he took his free RBI one opportunity that he had with a runner at third, just hit his ground ball to short. He's been a guy that since day one that we've known him has just been a very mature kid. He's a very hard worker. He had earned that spot, to be there, and he had earned the respect of his teammates too. The upperclassmen, they all really respect the way he goes about his business. And Luke Boynton has got the start on Sunday. I didn't want to go through the weekend without giving him an opportunity too, because he's been a guy that's been impressive since we've seen him, and got him in the game defensively on Friday, hoping that maybe he would get an at-bat late in that game. But his first one didn't come until Sunday, but got his first hit out of the way. Hit a ball, I think it was 106 miles an hour off the bat to right field. So, there's going to be some ups and downs with freshmen, but both those guys have some talent and really the ability to – both those guys can change a game with one swing too. So you're going to maybe put up with some freshman mistakes there, knowing that you may get rewarded with a big swing.
Leighton, what would his best position be if you had a spot? You're tight, particularly in the outfield.
Yeah, he's an outfielder by trade. He did play shortstop some in high school, but self-admittedly, he's not a shortstop. Really, kind of identified a little bit of a lack of depth on the infield in the fall, and so we spent all of our time trying to get him to be an adequate infielder for us, and he is. And he's a guy that, he could go play some third base for us if we needed him to. And he could go play in the outfield as well. And so he's pretty versatile and pretty good athlete.
3 pitchers who were on the roster a year ago but all had to sit out, 2 because of the transfer rule, 1 because of just a redshirt. Caleb Feakin, Trey Kissick, and Garrett Stroh. We saw all 3 of them on days 1 and 2. How'd you assess their performances?
Yeah, Stroh, we kind of talked about it. There were some kind of weird circumstances with the way that game started, but I didn't think he was necessarily overly sharp over his entire outing, especially as sharp as maybe we've seen him in some inter squads. But I got a lot of confidence in Gareth. I mean, he's a fifth-year senior that has shown us that he's been nothing but a strike thrower and a competitor and a hard worker. So I expect him to be a very consistent pitcher for us. Feakin, it was good to get him out there, kind of plan going behind Gomez just as a totally different look. He doesn't throw exceptionally hard, but he hides the ball well. He's very competitive. Came out right out of the bullpen and got a couple outs quick, and maybe lost it a little bit after that. But like you said, it's the first time for him to really be on the mound in a competitive situation in quite a while. And then Trey Kissick, I felt like Friday when he came in, he was pretty sharp. I thought his stuff was good. He slipped on the mound and had a hit by pitch there that kind of put some unnecessary traffic out there for him in that first outing, but I thought his stuff was good. Not quite as crisp on Sunday, so the results weren't there that we wanted or what he wanted on Sunday, but all 3 of those guys are very competitive. They're very diligent in what they, their preparation, and they're great teammates too.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. 866-HUSKER-1, 866-487-5371. Still time for you to sneak on. We're back with our final thoughts from the coach coming up next.
You're listening to Sports Night.
Husker 1-866-487-5371. We welcome you back to our Nebraska Baseball show. The head coach, Will Bolt, Nebraska, off to San Diego this weekend, then down to Arizona to take on Arizona State, another nationally ranked team. You're going to be tested these first 3 weeks, and I guess that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, that's kind of been these guys that are upperclassmen. They're used to it, and they're used to playing really good opponents, especially early and on the road. So nothing that they haven't seen before. And like I said, there were a lot of Baylor's a regional type team. I mean, they're experienced. They expect to win. We knew going into it that they weren't going to hand us much, and so it was encouraging to know that we played so well for 2 of the 3 games.
How did you feel like the communication with your staff went? I mean, you guys know each other, but it's the first time together as a group. How did that all work? Yeah,
it was what you would expect from a group that has been around each other and coached together before and has camaraderie that way. And so we're all on the same page with everything, and there's I think no doubt about it, the communication part of it's just in any organization, it's the biggest key is, how you're talking, with your people. And so I think there was nothing that came up over the weekend that was unexpected. So I think we were prepared for everything, and not to say that everything went exactly as planned, but I couldn't be more excited about our staff.
You didn't practice yesterday, so today was your first practice.
That's right.
Did you like how the guys brought it today?
It was really good to see. Just very determined. The energy was great. The focus was great. That was really one of the things we harped on Sunday. The focus wasn't – the competitiveness was there, the will and the want to win was there, but the focus wasn't what it needed to be to go finish that thing off. And, it showed up with some, defensive mistakes there and some of the approach mistakes that we talked about at the plate. But they were determined today to turn the page and to be more focused and, not look ahead to the weekend.
Got about a minute left. I haven't asked you about Cade Povich, who made his start.
Yep.
He was the first guy you recruited when you got the job. What'd you think of Cade?
I thought he was good. I thought, really, of all the guys that took the ball, he commanded multiple pitches better than anybody. I think he was no walks, 7 punch-outs on the day, and he only threw 62 pitches. They'd started to kind of barrel him up a little bit, which is why we got him out of there. We wanted to go to a ground ball pitcher in that spot, and bless he got his double play. So, but Cade was good. I thought, especially first Division I outing. I mean, I think he came out and punched out 2 or 3 in the first inning, so he was ready to go.
Very good. Well, let's get out to California and win some games.
Let's do it.
Will Bolt with us here. We're back in a couple of weeks with our next baseball show. We're still jumping around basketball games for the next couple of weeks. We've got another hour of Sports Nightly coming up on the other side. Come on back.